Hey, what's going on, everyone? And today I want to talk to you about a question that I get all the time in my practice. And the question is what is your most successful chiropractic story that you have? And to be honest with you, it's probably not what most of you guys are going to think. Yes, I do work with a ton of athletes, everything from high school to, collegiate and professional. But it's not a story of an athlete that was hurt, that came back to go on the field to win the game or anything like that. Matter of fact, the story that I want to share with you is a story about a little 5-month-old baby named Maria. Like so many times in your practice, you get referrals, and my practice is no different. I walked into actually this room, the one that you're actually seeing me right now do all of this video in, and I sat down and was presented with a friend of a friend. It's a patient, and it was basically her cousin's daughter. Now, Maria had a really traumatic birth. They had to do forceps, ended up doing induced C-section. It was crazy. Anyway, the mom's sitting there holding this baby, this 5-month-old precious baby, and she's literally on the verge of tears. And I was like, what's going on? And she said, Bo, I've been to every doctor that there is. I've been to neurosurgeons, we've been to family practitioners, pediatricians. I just don't know where to turn. And I said, well, what's going on with your baby? And she said, she won't pick her head up. She won't eat. We're having tons of issues. And I said, okay, well, walk me through it a little bit. So she did. She told me about the birthing process and how hard it was, and emergency cesarean and everything else. And I was a little bit shocked. I said, well, tell me what happened since then. And she said, she didn't eat, so they had to start literally sticking a tube down her throat and feeding her directly into her gut. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is so sad. I said, well, can you talk to me a little bit more about the birth? How much birth trauma was there? So she told me about how they basically, at the last second, the baby's heart rate was going down, and they had to twist and rip the baby's head out just to get the baby out and to start breathing. Then they had to pump the baby's lungs to really start, respirating. So I sat there and I started to think, and she said, I don't know what you can do as far as chiropractic. And I do know this, that the body that's in alignment works best. And from my training, I know that the number one cause of babies having issues is upper cervical subluxation. So I went more into the history, found out that she couldn't latch, which means she couldn't eat. Also, at 5 months old, the baby had already had 2 inner ear infections and was on antibiotics. I couldn't believe it. And I said, what's next? Where are you guys turning? What's the plan? And she said, Bo, since she literally cannot pick up her head, they're talking about going in and cutting out a portion of this muscle called your sternocleidomastoid, your SCM, and part of her traps, just so that it'll be able to hold her head up. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And then she said that the neurosurgeon thinks that there may be something neurologically wrong with her, and he thinks that if that doesn't work, then they're going to have to do exploratory brain surgery. And literally, my mouth was on the floor. As a parent myself, I was in shock, to be honest with you. Our kids are our most precious commodity, and we as parents would do anything we can to not cause harm or pain to our kids. So I'm sitting there looking at this mother thinking, I just want to help. So I told her and talked to her about chiropractic and what we do, how we assess our babies. And she so graciously let me put my hands on Maria and check her. And I will be honest with you, for those of you who aren't a chiropractor, we check the spine for something called subluxation. And basically what that is when there's rotation on the vertebrae causing pressure on the spinal cord and or the spinal nerves. Now those nerves go everywhere in the body. They go for your ear, your brain, your eye. Every single muscle, joint, organ in your body is innervated by the nerves. And the nerves talk back and forth to each other via your nervous system. So as I check this baby, I put my hands, I'll never forget it, right underneath her lower occipital region. And I've never ever in my life felt a subluxation at C1 like I had. Literally, you could almost see the bone sticking out on the side of the baby. Now this baby was crying. As soon as I touched it, she went into panic screaming, like the worst screaming if I was cutting her arm off. It was incredible. It was amazing about how sensitive that area was. So I talked to her and I told her mom, I said, I don't know what we can do, but I do know this. If we align the body, it gives the body the ability to work best. And she said, Bo, I literally will do anything. Anything. Of course we would for our children, right? I said, okay, talk me again, what's going on? She said, she cries all day long. Literally, she cries 4 to 6 hours a day. Then we have to give her medication. Literally, she'll just knock her out so she'll sleep at night. If not, she'll be up crying and crying. I said, okay, what else? She said, she won't pick her head up and she won't turn her head to the left. And I said, really? She said, yeah, she doesn't turn her head to the left and she has absolutely zero suckling reflex. So what I did is I took the baby and I literally sat, I remember it was right here, right on this pro adjuster, right here. And I put the baby over the mom's shoulder just like this. And I held the baby and I took the pro adjuster and I put it on the very, very lowest setting. And for those of you who don't know what the pro adjuster work is, it would be literally like just taking your thumb and pushing it on the side of your cheek. It's that light, guys. And I took this baby and I literally scanned up and down the upper cervical spine, and then very, very, very gently, I just set it and I let it go and just tap into work. And I was amazed. I wasn't amazed by what happened. I was amazed by how many taps the pro adjuster took. A normal person that subluxated a little bit with the pro adjuster work, we're looking at 30 to 50 taps. This one was over 900. I remember holding it thinking, man, is it working? Shouldn't it stop right now? And it kept going and going and going. And I just kept thinking, okay, trust it. See what it feels like. So I left it up there. 938, I think was, if I remember right, was the number when it finally stopped. And I'll never forget what happened next. I pulled the pro adjuster off and I just took a step back and I just said, wait for a second. And the baby picked its head up and turned it to the left. Literally, streams of tears came down the mom's face. The baby had this look that was a complete relaxation. This baby was like an angelic look. It was like the most amazing, perfect moment that I've ever experienced. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? You know, to make a very long story short, I left Maria that day and she went home. I called her mom that night and I just said, how's she doing? And she said, she's sleeping for the first time in months. I said, did you have to give any medication? She said, absolutely not. I said, I'll call you in the morning. I remember literally not sleeping that night because I was thinking, what's going to happen? Is she going to be worse? Is she going to be better? You know, how is this going to work? I called her in the morning. It was about 8 o'clock and she said she slept all night long. I said, call me when she gets up. I want to see how she goes. Okay. Mom calls me, I think it was like 10:30 or 11. She said, Bo, she started eating this morning from me. I was like, wait. Weren't you breastfeeding along the way? She said, no. I would try to do it every single day, so I kept my milk supply up, but we were, supplementing with formula. And I said, well, keep going. That's great. Let's try to have her feed off of you. It's so important. She called me back later at 3 o'clock, and she said, Bo, she's eaten 4 times today. She hasn't cried once. What did you do to her? And I just said, that's chiropractic. As I step away and I look at this, I called her a week later, I called her a month later, and the baby is 100% perfectly fine. The pediatricians just claim, well, she just got over whatever she had going on, and that the antibiotics must have seemed to work this time after the 3rd or 4th dosage of antibiotics they gave her. But guys, I really believe it's the power of chiropractic. It's what I do. It's what chiropractic does. It's why I love this profession so much. It's why I am a chiropractor. Because God gives us the ability to change the world. He gives us the ability to reach out and do things in your community and your family lives that no one else can do. Now, it's all about finding what your it is or what your love is. But in this case, it was chiropractic. And in this case, it was the ability for the body to heal itself. See, we don't need no drugs, we don't need no extra surgery, any of that stuff. Just give the body the ability to heal, turn on the nervous system, and be amazed at what happens. So my ultimate chiropractic story does not come in the form of a Super Bowl or a World Series ring. No, it comes in the eyes of a 5-month-old baby that has literally changed my life forever. I hope you guys have an incredible day out there. Go out there, be great, be awesome, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye now.